The show is made possible in part by its supporting sponsors. Blue Water Power Group of Companies, Joe's Discount Tire, and AskGuy.ca. Going to have some fun here today with video games, maybe some Donkey Kong. I really check out the pinball machines. Where are we? District Beta is where we're sitting with owner and founder Travis Kelly. Thanks so much for this. We're here early in the morning, actually. You're watching this live, but when we recorded this, this is a weird time of day to be sitting in an arcade.
Yeah, it's very eerie and dark. This isn't how it usually looks, trust me.
Right. Have you got some ghosts around here to add to the atmosphere?
I hope not. Yeah.
Travis, you're how old? 27?
Yeah, 27.
Yeah. And when did you start this? How many years has it been now?
We just actually passed 6 years since I registered this company. So I started this company when I was 21.
Yeah, that's incredible. Good for you. I remember interviewing you on the show years ago when you were first talking about it, and you had kind of one VR thing kind of stuck on poles, and I remember you saying that you were going to do this, and I thought, I got to keep an eye on this kid.
Yeah, you were actually the first person to interview me, like, ever in District Beta.
Okay, cool.
And then after that, it all flooded in, so you were the...
You broke the ice. We're taking the credit here. Thank you very much. How do you even start with this? Like, arcades, at least, my time was the 80s in high school. We went to Jimmy's Arcade down on Exmouth Street, and there was lots of fun in the mall, and there was all these places. And then they seemed to kind of fade away, technology, laser disc games and all that. Dragon's Lair was the big one there. What made you wake up and go, I need to do this?
I'd say the main reason behind me wanting to get into this was just growing up in the area. I'm from Petrolia, so growing up in the area, there was nothing to do for my generation. It was just sit at home and do nothing, and like it was even worse growing up in Petrolia. So it was basically drive to Sarnia and find something to do. But then I found as I was growing up, there really wasn't much to do in Sarnia unless you want to just go sit at a bar and do nothing. Right. So it was really a love for technology and a bore of nothing to do in this city. I've always been big into technology. I got really, really big into video games in my teens. Yeah. And then from then on, it just kind of, I had a really good community of friends back home that we would meet up all the time, back home being Petrolia. We'd meet up all the time in our basement, we'd play games, and it's like, okay, how can I take this to the next level, get more people involved, bigger space, a lot bigger budget than my friend's basement. But it was just really wanting to jump in and bring something into this community.
Fill a hole. Yeah. If you can fill a need. Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's go back a little further, public school. Did you go to public school in Petrolia as well?
Yeah.
What I always ask all my guests this question: what was school like for you? Did you enjoy it or did you hate it?
I didn't mind school. I didn't as much like the learning as I did like the sports and all that. Yeah. I was really big into sports growing up. I wasn't great at the school side of things. I did well. I think that was mainly because my sisters were really smart. They'd help with my homework. Okay. So I did well in school, but it wasn't really for me, which is funny because I ended up taking a lot of schooling after that. But yeah, I did enjoy it. I really enjoyed the good things that I was good at was like the computer side of things, and then sports, gym.
Well, you're a big guy too, so we tried to recruit you for basketball, I bet.
Yeah, it's funny enough.
Football, maybe.
Big guy. I got cut from the basketball team. I think I was the only person to get cut from the basketball team. I was 6'4" in grade 9, and I still got cut. So I ended up football and hockey were my big ones. I played hockey all the way growing up in Petrolia, and then football through high school. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Are you do you watch the sports? Like, are you a hockey guy? On TV?
Unfortunately, this year I'm a Leafs fan.
You guys, Leaf fans, you guys are zealots.
Yeah.
They can do everything wrong and you'll still buy a ticket.
Yeah, no, this year was actually, I thought it was going to be a good year for hockey because obviously a Sting fan as well. Yeah, so we attended almost all the home playoff games, and I thought this was going to be the year that my two teams were going to win.
It was amazing, wasn't it, to watch?
Yep.
History was made here in Sarnia.
It was amazing.
Yeah. So hockey and football. What about your personal life, like mom and dad, and you mentioned you have a couple of sisters?
Yep, yeah, so I grew up with a single mom, couple sisters, just out in Petrolia again. We lived in a, I like to say, single mom come up, but Petrolia is a nice neighborhood, no matter where you are in Petrolia.
Yep.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time being the only boy in the family, just kind of making time on my own, sitting out in the street playing street hockey with the neighbors, or sitting in the basement playing video games, everything there.
Yeah. Okay, we just can't get away from this video game thing. It all comes back to that. Sitting in the basement, playing video games. What's the one that comes to mind?
My all-time favorite that I still play today, and it was one of the first ones I ever played, was like Mario Kart 64. You gotta have that, and like that one, I actually didn't have my own video game systems until I was in my teens. So I'd like be at friends, and obviously you play the party games, you play Mario Kart. Sure. But then still, like to this day, like I was just at a friend's wedding on the weekend, and we were playing Mario Kart while we were getting changed with a photographer. Yeah. It's like it's just a classic one that it's a good party game to get going with your friends. The
Super NES before the N64, right? That was Mario Kart on that system. Yep. And that's when I was like in my 20s. Yep. That was and I kicked butt at that. Maybe I'll have to take you on it in 64.
Oh, okay. We got to set up over here.
I did a challenge with Max Major a few years ago, and I think I beat him at Mario Kart. He wasn't too happy about that. Yeah. Revenge. And see, for me, in the 80s, it was, I had a Texas Instrument computer. Yep. And then my friends had the VIC-20. Okay. And then he had the Commodore 64. Yep. And we spent a lot of time at his house because it wasn't a computer. It was a video game with a keyboard is what it was. We had the 360K floppy. We played Jumpman Jr. and Beachhead and all these games.
All the classics.
Yeah, and we spent hours. And now you hear about video games and kids spending hours or a lot of time playing video games, and you know, some parents anyway probably feel like there's too much time spent on video games. Yep. Do you agree with that?
I think obviously I'm a little biased because I own an arcade. Yeah. I think my kind of rule of thumb that I've always gone with playing games for myself is I always use games as like a social outlet. Right. I'm not really one to sit down and grind out a single player game for hours and hours. Right. There is a few select series that I will do that, but I've always used video games as like a way to socialize. Yeah. Where it's a good going over to my friend's house playing games, or like meeting up online playing games, or people coming in here playing games. Yeah. It's a way of socializing because this is a common ground that so many people have in common.
Yeah, and interesting too, like online, like my son, for example, he plays VR. He's got his VR. Yep. Don't ask me which one it is, but and he's met friends online. Yep. And a lot of that's his social rather than maybe not as social in person, right? So is this a new? It's not. I shouldn't really say new, but. Is this a way that people socialize now? Like the online side of it, like you talk about the social side of it. Yep. Are you talking about the online side chat, or are you talking about hanging out with your friends at the arcade or in the basement?
I think like there is both. Like I know my age, so when I was kind of ending high school, a lot of my friends went away to university. They were no longer in the area, so we kept in touch through online games. Yeah. And then I do have some people that I've only actually met online that I used to play games with a lot. Yeah. Back in the day, I was really big into like StarCraft and League of Legends. Oh, yeah, right. And there's people there that I just met online in like online forums, and we played together for years. And like we don't play as much anymore, but like we still follow each other on like social media, likes and comments both ways. But it's funny, these people that I've never met, but I bonded with them for hours and hours and hours playing online games. I know them better than I know some of the friends that not as close with.
Right. Yep. It's really become, it is an industry. It's always been an industry, but I think coming forward now, we're seeing, you know, with the live streaming side, like Twitch, of course, been around for years, and even YouTube getting into that gaming world. Sponsorships and professional players and stuff. Do you follow that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I follow a select few teams that I follow very closely, but it's insane how much the industry's grown. Even like since we started, like we're 6 years now. Even since then, like I remember some of the first tournaments that I was doing, like reaching out to companies for sponsorships, it was like unheard of. It was like, why am I giving you money for video games?
Right.
And now there's companies giving millions and millions of dollars towards video games. Obviously not mine, the ones that get millions and millions of views, but it's insane. Like obviously the esports industry has been around a lot longer than us, but even the last 5 years or so has really like propelled it into the limelight and seen that there is real money to be made, and people are making millions and millions of dollars.
We're seeing like major sports players from the NBA and from baseball and hockey, they're getting into that game, pun intended, of putting their name on things. I mean, that's always been a thing, but they're more involved, it seems like, in the esports side of things, where and they're playing the game. They're playing the game, and sometimes you can challenge some of these players online, and people pay all kinds of money to, I don't know, play their favorite hockey player and stuff like that, right? So it really has become a like I say, a social, I guess a communication tool that, I mean, I believe it's on track to be the next trillion, with a T, $1 trillion industry. We'll come back to that, but I want to circle back around to district beta again. And you invested a lot of time, and obviously, there's money investment and everything. What about family support? Did anybody roll their eyes at you and say, "You want to do what?"
Not really. Obviously, there were some people that didn't really understand it, that there's like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, I support you, but maybe you should try this. But for the most part, like I have very supportive family. They've always been there, like pushing me to do what I want, and like my fiance, she's been there since district beta was an idea, and she's been very supportive through everything. She worked a good job so I could work a not so good job while we were building this up, and we were building this from scratch. She's actually a water operator now.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
so she works with clean drinking water.
Right.
So so she worked through there so that I could. She was paying the bills while I was building this.
I can relate, buddy.
It was the alternative to me living with my mom. So
yeah. And mom, like you said, very supportive, like right there, like go for it, honey, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. You'll see anytime I make a Facebook post, even now, 6 years later, she's the first one to share it. So I'm a little celebrity at my mom's work because they all see me all over her Facebook page.
That's right.
I'm sure they'll be seeing this video because she'll probably share this.
Proud mom. There's nothing wrong. Hi, mom. Nothing wrong with that at all. Well, it does, and I always have this conversation with my guests. Like, would you agree that who you surrounded yourself with is part of what made this happen?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I make an effort. Obviously, I don't want to cut people out of my life, but I make an effort to spend time with the quality people that can help me get to my next level and help me build this and support me with this. I've got some really good peers that I rely on, that I've worked with from when this was first an idea to now, that I still talk with. It's funny, they probably know more about my business than I do, or than half my employees do, because they've been so involved with it. Especially like I went back to school for business at one point, and some of my business professors, I worked with them very, very closely, and I was like, how do you think I should do this? You guys are the expert. How should I do this?
That was at Lambton College, right?
Yes.
You took that, and
and
I remember you being there because I teach there. They still kept me around, and in that live streaming and video gaming world too, which is really kind of interesting. How we're talking about the game thing, and now it's Lambton College. I'm going to brag now. It's the first in Canada to have the esports program. And you really you made a lot of contacts, and you say you had those resources, and Lambton College was a great support for you? Yeah,
absolutely. Especially working with the esports program, like Matt Hutchinson, I'll name him specifically.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, because he's the program coordinator for that, but then he was also my one of my professors when I was in business school. He was actually the one that convinced me to go back to school for business. Before I started district beta, I had gone to school for computer science at Lambton College, and I graduated from that, and I was working in the industry for a little bit. Wasn't the biggest fan of that industry. I didn't want to spend the next 45 years sitting at a desk. So then that's when I started District Beta, and around, I think Lambton Esports started, like, officially launched a few months after we launched District Beta.
It was 19 when it began, yeah.
Yeah, and then so Matt was a big support, and he'd come in with the esports organization, and he was talking to me the one day they were at the arcade, and he was just like, yeah, if you ever have any questions like about business, let me know. And so I took him up on that. Like a few weeks later, I sent him a text and I was like, hey, I got some questions. And then we met up for a coffee. It was supposed to be just a quick half-hour coffee at Blackwater downtown. I think we were there for almost 3 hours.
Right, like I have those conversations with Matt too.
and then he was the one that told me that I had no business background in this. He said that if I want to try to take my business to the next level, I should strive to get educated in it. So I went back to school for the business program. He was actually the one that convinced me that I should join the Lambton College Enactus team, which was great experience as well. Yeah. Got to present in front of judges, and we actually won a national championship and got second in the world. Yeah. Fortunately, we didn't win my year, but that instilled a whole lot of confidence to be able to get up and talk in front of people and talk on camera. Yeah. And that was he was a huge support throughout it. And even still, he was here last week having a beer and we chatted for 2 hours. Yeah. So surrounding myself, Matt's not all the people that I surround myself with, but he is a great resource.
But he's a really good type, though, to be around.
Yeah, and he knows so much about this industry. He's the program coordinator for this industry at the college. Yeah. So working closely with Lambton and all my professors, like Matt's a good general one, but then I had other professors that were great with marketing, great with operations, great with logistics, and pulling from those and going through college as a business owner, especially when all the professors know my business, it made it so much easier to learn. When I could say, oh, I have this specific problem, and the professors know the specific problem that I'm having and how they can help me with it, I feel like I got so much more value going back to school then than my first time when I was just going back to school because I felt that I needed to go to school.
And even beyond, you're not there now, you still have these resources available to you. They still give you the support that you need, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's a value in itself for the price of tuition. Yeah. Whatever, seriously though, but that's a good thing to have around you. And shout out again to Matt. He's been super helpful to me as part of that program, and there's a lot of knowledge there. And I know you've got some partnerships kind of working with the esports program still. Yeah, we work with the esports program as a corporate client. So every year we work with the students to help them develop new projects. Last year we worked with them for developing our summer camps. So they worked with us for 8 months with like the planning and feasibility and all that kind of stuff. And then we launched summer camps last summer. And then this last year, we worked with them up until they graduated about a month ago now, and it's on a new thing that we're launching in September that I haven't announced yet, but we're doing after-school coding camps that we're launching in September. Coding, like computer?
Yeah, like programming.
Coding? Oh, wow.
It's funny, with our summer camps have been extremely popular, and our summer camps are educational summer camps, and a big thing that's come from that is parents are saying, like, we need more. Like, what else? There's nothing for my kids to do in Sarnia. How can we do it? And obviously, people know my background with being computer science. It's like, you should teach coding camps. So I'm not qualified to teach coding camps. So we bought some coding camps that were made by qualified people, and then we're going to be running them out of here starting September. That's cool. Yeah. Right. So the summer camp. Oh, I was thinking of joining the summer camp. You mean we're not playing just video games? No, we're not just playing video games. There is video games. It is an arcade. We're having fun. But it is actually an education-based summer camp where we use the virtual reality technology to help kids learn without knowing that they're learning. It covers a little bit of everything. It's mainly around STEM and science, where every day is a different topic where they come in and learn, and they do virtual reality learning over there, and then we set this up over here almost like a little classroom, and they do hands-on arts and crafts and building dioramas, projects, everything. And we ran them last year for the first time, and they were incredibly popular. Everyone loved them, and I know that everyone loved them because I think 85 or 90% of the kids that came last year signed up again for this year. Right. So and the parents, you mentioned the parents in there, they've got to love it. Yeah. Because they're the ones paying for it, right? Yep. Number one. And they do want to see value for not just for their money, but
what's my kid getting out of this? What educational side?
Absolutely. And like, no, nothing against the other summer camps in the city, but I found that growing up here, how many summers in a row can I sit in an empty, hot gym without air conditioning and ride my bikes around the parking lot? So I decided that it was time.
It's not wrong.
It was time to have something a little bit more fun and something that can help the kids learn. And it's funny, we have a wide range of kids that come to this, but it's funny, like some of the ones, like they don't realize that they're learning, or like some of them, their parents kind of promise them, it's like, oh, you're going to the arcade for summer camp, and they think they're just going to show up and play video games all week. So the Monday morning's always a little sad, they're a little mopey because, oh, I actually have to do something. But then they get into it and they're having fun and they love it. We do give them lots of time to play as well. It's summer. Sure. And they're here, the camps run for 6.5 hours, so we're not going to make them learn for 6.5 hours straight. So we let them play games.
They might not come back.
Yeah. we let them play games here and whatever they want. We basically, and they just show up and they have
it's really
time.
fun when you can be teaching and you just set it in there. They don't even realize they're learning.
Yeah.
But they are.
Yeah.
But in a way that, I mean, let's face it, school can be boring.
Yep.
You know, book work and all that sort of stuff. So it's great that you've been able to do. Is this all coming from your brain, all these ideas, or is it, I mean, obviously your fiance probably says, what do you think about, but is this all coming from your brain?
No, it's kind of like a mix of everything. Like, and like customer feedback. Oh, we got a visitor. Customer feedback has really been the pinnacle of how I've grown this business.
Yeah.
Like I started it very small, and then it's just been rolling and rolling and rolling with feedback that we have from customers on why they want this.
Yeah. You did check them out on TikTok, by the way.
Yep.
They're very, very entertaining. You have a dog?
Yep. I got 2 dogs.
2 dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to give. What's their names?
We have Macy. She's a little schnoodle, a Schnauzer Poodle mix, and we have Bindi. She's a big Bernese Mountain Dog.
Right. I watch I'm a loyal follower of the District Beta TikTok, and I love how you put in the business side of it. Like you say, people ask me this.
Yep.
Like, what's your favorite game, or what's your day? You did one not too long ago. What your day looks like.
Yep.
You were down at the park and you took the laptop, and I think one of the dogs was with you.
Yep.
And your TikToks with District A Day in the Life, and you put that in there, and I just think it's really cool how you relate what you're doing daily. Do you own the business, or does the business own you?
A little bit of both. I've been trying recently that I own the business, but for a few years the business was dictating my life. Yeah. Everything I do on a day-to-day basis was what the business needed. But now I'm lucky to be in a position where I've been able to hire some really, really good staff that are able to run like the day-to-day operations and deal like the customer facing. Nowadays, if you come in here, you're probably not going to see my face. You're going to see my fabulous staff. Mm-hmm. So I've been trying to work on that and get more of a work-life balance. Because for the first, especially like 3 years, if we were open, I was here. Yeah. Even if we weren't open, 4 hours before open and 2 hours after close, I was here, where I was doing the 16, 17 hours a day for 3 years straight, basically. Yeah. So now, as bad as that's one of the positives that did come out of COVID, actually. When we were closed, is I got to kind of take a step back. And look at it and see, it's like, okay, I'm putting all this into this, but I don't have any time to actually enjoy the fruits of my labor. So now I've been, I've been kind of pivoting that I want to be more present in my own life. Mm-hmm. And I have the good staff, and it helps. It actually has helped grow the business. That I'm not the one here teaching people how to play VR, or making drinks. I can be behind the scenes working on growing the business. Right. And that's how I've had the time to like work with these groups for the summer camps, the after school camps, adding in new stuff, and everything, is that I'm not so focused on the present. I'm more focused on how I can grow this company and the future.
Right. What is that? What's the size of this going to grow at some point?
I would like it to. Right now we are kind of.
It is still. It's like it's a pretty big place already. But.
Yeah, we're just over 4,000 square feet, and I need more.
Right.
I'm running out of space. Our place is getting full. Like you'll notice if you came here a year ago, we had a lot more floor space than we do now.
Yeah.
We just actually recently added in our racing simulators. Those have been really popular. So I have a couple different plans for how I want to grow this. I'm not sure where I've landed yet. We have had companies come at us and organizations come at us saying that they want more district betas in other cities. And it's like, well, this is my community. I want to make this one the best that I can before I worry about that.
That's very complimentary to what you've done, though. If they're when they're coming and knocking on your door without having to go knock on theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very nice when people say that. But I'm in the position where I want to make this the best that I can for the community, because that's what I set out for when I first started this. Was for this to be a community space where anyone can come in, feel welcome, have fun, enjoy themselves. And I don't think my mission's done here yet in Sarnia, so I want to keep pushing to see what I can do here in Sarnia.
So, and going to another TikTok that I watched not too long ago was your space, where you're located. You're out here on London Line, right next to Highway Bowl. And some have said, you're too far out there. And why don't you go downtown, and why don't you go here and there, and everybody's telling you what you should do, right? But there's really a cost thing in that, right? And it doesn't. You don't have to go far from where you're at for the numbers to triple.
Yeah, no. A big thing since our opening day at this location, people are like, well, why weren't you by the mall, or why weren't you downtown? And something with this business that I strive to be is a very affordable and accessible environment. One of the benefits of this that I didn't mention in that video is that we're fully wheelchair accessible, where anyone can get in here.
Okay.
That is a big thing that I want to have, is being accessible. That we work a lot with the group homes and respite centers, all the different organizations where they can come in and be the space that they need this to be. And then once it gets on that side of things, not just for those groups, but for any group, is if I'm downtown and I'm paying 7 times the rent, or if I'm by the mall and I'm paying 5 times the rent, I still have to pay my bills at the end of the day. I'm going to have to pass those expenses on to my customers, and they're not going to want to pay $90 to do what's $30 right now.
Right.
So that's where logistically I enjoy this space. And it works out really very well. Like, we have the bowling alley next to us. There's laser tag, rock climbing, mini putt, axe throwing. There's everything in this building.
It's an entertainment center.
Yeah,
it really
we have a lot of times, obviously not right now because it's Wednesday morning.
Right, yeah.
A lot of times.
It's pretty quiet here right now.
Yeah,
but
that people are hopping between the businesses. Like we're bowling alleys, like, oh, we're full right now, go over to District Beta. And then people will come here and sit here for 40 minutes. Or people will, until their bowling lane's ready, people will sit here, have some fun. It's like, oh, let's go bowling after. Or we have a lot of, with the laser tag next door, like a lot of the kids were, okay, for our birthday party, we're going to go do an hour of laser tag and then an hour at District Beta and hop back and forth. And
so everybody's working together.
Yeah, we have a great mesh in this building where everybody works together. And then even like the axe throwing, we'll get people, they'll hang out at axe throwing, and then as soon as they're done, we're open later, so they come here and sit down at the bar, play some drinks. They don't end their night there. So it works out greatly with all these businesses that we're able to.
That's great
share
too.
with.
That you've got the liquor license here, so big kids like me can come out and I mean, honestly, to come out here in an Uber is not any different than if I were taking an Uber to the bar or wherever, right? So it's still there's a good value in that. Take an Uber, take a taxi, even if it's whatever. And do you get a lot of big kids like me wanting to come out and play?
Yeah, we do have. So we do Friday nights and Saturday nights after 9 o'clock.
Okay.
You come in and play these games for free, and we do 19 plus. Just so that it gives it a time that the adults can come out and have some fun without worrying about the screaming kids. All other times we are all ages, but we do get a lot of adults that come out and play. It's not just like we have a ton of families and kids, but we want to make it that it's for everyone. Gaming doesn't end when you turn 19. Gaming is a lifelong thing, and it's something you can bond with.
So then how late do you stay open on Friday,
Saturday nights? We'll stay as late as 2 a.m.
Oh, wow.
We kind of do I do the old business trick of saying close.
Right.
Close is when we slow down.
Right. Okay.
If I'm not selling enough drinks to justify my staff, then that's close. But if we're busy and we're staying here, we'll stay here until 2 a.m.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm due for a return visit for that. I mean, beer and video games, why not?
Yeah.
So you've really been able to adapt into multiple demographics, I guess, age-wise anyway. And are you built it so you've got regulars who come back then?
Yeah.
Because regulars are a big part of.
Yeah, we have a lot of core communities. So throughout the week, every night we have some sort of different like game night. So like we do on Tuesday nights, we do Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's the table game. People come out and they do Yu-Gi-Oh battles. On Wednesdays we do Warhammer. So they take over all of our tables and they play Warhammer, and it's just like a great community. And like Thursdays we run Super Smash Bros. Tournaments every single Thursday, and then we have Fridays we do more cards, and then we're also bringing back, starting actually this week, we're starting Friday night gaming tournaments.
Cool.
So we have a lot of regular customers, and that's been a big part for me for my business, is building those communities and those people that they can come out here. A lot of our customers that come out with these groups, they came out for like the first time by themselves, and then they made these friends, and then these are where they meet their friends on a weekly basis for the last 6 years.
Great relationship.
Yeah,
built.
so we're really focusing on building those communities where people can come out here and feel welcome and make those friendships that if they don't have somewhere else to go in their life, they come here, they make friendships, and then they keep coming back here, making those friends.
That's so cool. Relationships are, well, and I teach it in my class quite honestly, relationships and impact.
Yep.
Those two things, if you can put those two together, you can really create anything, and people will follow you to no end, right?
Yep.
I don't know, like I want to talk more about you, but I don't know how to get there without the word video game coming into it, right? You know, is that all you are, video games?
No, I do have a lot beyond video games, and I had a life before video games.
Right.
Video games kind of came on to me in a weird way of how I really got into them. As I mentioned earlier, I was really big into sports. I played sports my entire childhood up until I was 15. I got a really bad concussion. I got multiple concussions. They're saying over the course of 2 years, they're estimating about 8 concussions. I was the big guy on ice. I was everyone's target.
Right.
And then I actually got forced to give up sports. I was seeing specialists in Toronto. I had to do what they called like a blackout. So it was like 3 months where I wasn't allowed to look at any electronics. I basically just sat in a dark room. My concussions got that bad. And then coming out of that, it was a very hard spot for me, for like mentally and physically, because I had all these kids that I'd played hockey, football, everything growing up with for my entire life. Suddenly, I didn't have anything in common with them, because the thing that I had in common with them was playing hockey together, playing football together, and it was completely taken away from me. So then I came out of that feeling very like alone and secluded, because it's not like, oh, let's go to hockey practice and hang out with these guys. Like, I didn't have that anymore. So that's where I got into video games, and my friend group kind of shifted away from the athletes to the nerds. And
nerds are cool now.
Yeah, and getting into that. And what I've said when starting this was a place that I would have needed.
You're talking mental health?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A place that I would have needed when I was in that position, to have the communities that I can come out to and have fun and hang out and meet new people, because I didn't have that when I was in that stage of my life.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who can relate, maybe not the concussion, but that whole mental health side.
Yeah.
And video games being that place that you said you wanted to create a safe space. And a lot of live streamers, my class are like, I want to create a safe space, and it really seems to be, mental health is a part of all of that.
Yep.
And it can be the escape, or just the comfort room, or whatever. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I know that was a big part of your life, and able to come out of that. Speaking of coming out of that, I have to go through this every time too.
Yep.
I know we want to forget the P word, But how did you survive the pandemic, and how did you survive it, and how did District Beta survive?
So I'll go through me first because that was easier. I just golfed a lot.
Okay.
I'm a very avid golfer. So I golfed a lot. That was how I personally got through that, golf and video games. District Beta, on the other hand, that was a harder one. We were lucky that when we closed, we'd already been in business for over 3 years.
Yeah.
So we had a loyal customer base that whenever we reopened, they would be here. I remember we had
open close.
We were the first to close, last to reopen every single time.
Yeah.
And I think we have 3 or 4 shutdowns where I had to lock my doors.
Yeah.
And like those were the ones where it was very apparent that I had customers that wanted me here, that wanted to support us, because we would open, I'd put that Facebook status out, and then we'd have a lineup at the door that next day when we finally were able to open. So I think that is how we were able to survive. Luckily, I was in the position that we had a lot of money in the bank, because we were planning some expansion back then. So we had the money in the bank to fall back on, and then we had the regular customer base that was here to support us no matter what. I know there was one of the lockdowns that we were open for 10 days. And like those 10 days, they were sold out every day for those 10 days.
Yeah.
But then we had to shut the doors
so
again.
Thankfully you were rocking because you had to shut the doors.
So that was how we managed to survive, was because we've built up these communities and these loyal customer bases that they want to come out here. And I spent a lot of time over COVID. I had a lot of downtime. I spent a lot of time just kind of sitting around and seeing how I could improve this business.
Planning and
and making the changes. And so when you come in here, I think it was March 13th was when we closed.
Okay.
March 13th versus whenever 2 years later when we opened up, this was almost a completely different business. I didn't make any massive investments into new equipment or anything like that. That wouldn't have been very responsible, but we kind of rearranged the flow and how everything worked. Like the arcades used to be over there.
Yeah.
And like the VR is set up differently. Our tables over here are set up differently. I used that time to kind of sit back, and I had the time. Usually it was a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Instead of taking a vacation, you took time to focus still on, okay, well, what can I do?
Yeah, for the first 3 years, I was going by the seat of my pants, where just make stuff work, where now I had time to sit back and take my time and look at things. And we were able to add in the retail store here. We partnered with Retro Play Games to add in a retail store, so that did help. We weren't just locked doors. We had some people coming in because they were able to shop. They weren't able to play, but they could come and shop.
Yeah, right.
So that worked out for me.
Yeah.
Luckily,
pandemic, the longest 2 weeks of our life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good for you for going through that. Or I like to say, I don't say go through, you grow through things, right? You know, and to bring it to this space that we're sitting in now. And you talk about welcoming or making it a safe space. The moment you walk through that door, every time I've walked through, even when it's just been in here to pop in, maybe I'm looking for you or somebody, it's very welcoming, right down to the staff.
Yep.
Because they're like the receptionists. They're the first person everybody sees.
Yep.
And they've always been, hey, how's it going?
Yep.
And it's not even, it's a genuine hello. It's not that, and how are you today? Like, you really don't care how I'm doing today.
Yeah.
But here, is that part of your expectation of your staff, and is that part of the training?
Yeah, I make that very clear from the time that I put out a job posting to the time that, like, going through training and having the customers, is that I make it clear the mission that I shared with you about making the inclusive space, that I make that clear that that's what I'm going for. Those are the only people that I want to have on board, people that follow that mission. And we have had some staff that didn't work out. They weren't the right fit. They didn't give off the right vibes. And I think that's super important, is to have the good team that sees the mission and 100%. They want to go through the same thing. So like right now we have a great team of staff. Our manager, Christian, he's amazing. It's funny, as the years have gone on, the positive reviews have gone from my name to his name, where everyone comes
Travis
and it's like, yeah, exactly. Everyone knows him more, and I find that funny. Like, if you go through our Google Google reviews, for instance, you can almost see what staff I had and when, because people are naming our staff by name of how great of experience they had. So you can see a record of my employment history through there, and I think that's a huge thing, because this is a space that I want to be anyone welcoming, that people come in and they feel welcome.
Well, you've created that, like I say, walking right through the door. It's right there, automatic. So you said fiance. Have you set a date, or is District Beta deciding when you get to get married?
The wedding industry is deciding. We haven't set a date yet. We got engaged over COVID, and when we started wedding planning, things were one price. But then as soon as the vendors started opening up again, the things were
crazy.
A lot more. So we haven't set a for sure date. We're looking for next fall. Fall 2024 is what we're thinking, but we haven't got there yet.
Would that be in Sarnia that you do it?
We want to do it local because all of our friends are here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a fun balance of every time we start planning, we look at how expensive weddings are and say, maybe not. Let's just go get eloped at City Hall.
Yeah. Well, then do I or do I not buy another video game to put in District Beta?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, a wedding, I could get a lot of VR for that.
Right? Let's just go to Vegas, honey. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm not putting it. But because there has to be that, we talk a little bit too about self-care. That's always important. That's a balance you have to, but personal life and business life, has that ever been a struggle to balance?
I wouldn't say so. My fiance would probably say so.
Yeah, okay. Right.
I think I got so involved in it that, as we kind of alluded to earlier, like District Beta became my life. So I think she would probably say just like, oh, it would have been nice to go to this, but I was so focused on this. So I definitely did have a lot of issues with like the work-life balance.
She's got to reel you in sometimes.
Yeah.
I know.
I have some rules. Like I'll always make time to like hang out with friends and hang out with family. I've been like that was day one, especially family. That's been a big thing for me, and then for my fiance's family. Family is really important. So we always make time to make sure that we don't miss any of those big events or anything like that. But there has been some small events that have gotten missed from work. But now
those are sacrifices, though, sometimes. Right?
Yeah, and now I'm lucky for my work-life balance. I've tried to work it out where I'm although the arcade doesn't open till 3:30, I'm basically working a 9 to 5. I'm just here when we're closed. So then I try to take my weekends off if I can to go out and do stuff and hang out with family, hang out with friends.
Yeah. It can be tough at times, because you're like, well, yeah, but I got to this, and then, well, yeah, but I love you too. But it's not always the same order in the day. But you've worked through so much, on a personal side. And business can be challenging. And pandemic. And is this, for Travis Kelly, is this your legacy?
I think right now it is. This is what I'm building for. This is what I'm known for. If you Google my name, this is what comes up. So I think this is where I want to see myself, like pushing this to the next level and seeing what I can make of this. And over I guess backtrack a little bit. One of the details that I had forgot to mention is over COVID, I did end up actually getting a job because I was sitting around, just sitting here doing nothing. And after 2 years of being closed, I didn't want to keep pulling a salary for myself in the business. So I went and put my marketing degree to use, got a job. I worked there for 6 months, actually almost 6 months to the day. And then I decided to quit that job.
Can I ask you where?
It was a local,
Okay, no,
it was just a local marketing company.
Or
local marketing, working in a marketing agency.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily leave on the best terms. But I was just sitting there at my desk, and I was like, this isn't doing what I want to do. Right. This isn't where I want to go long term. This isn't helping me get to my goals. I have the opportunity right now to like grow something and build something out of District Beta. I would rather focus that, and then instead of just sitting at a desk and wasting my life away. I don't want to say wasting my life away.
I get it.
But it wasn't for me.
You want your own time freedom, and you want to make choices for you, not for somebody else.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And my fiance, she encouraged me to quit. She encouraged me to never take the job in the first place.
Okay.
And then she's the one that told me that I need to quit and focus on it because she saw like how miserable and how not sad, but it's just like it wasn't me. She said that I wasn't myself. So I guess now is my time that I am building my legacy as a district beta, this is what I want to look at. I learned with my background between computer science and marketing, it's not hard for me to go get a job if I want to get a job. And I'm in the position right now where I don't have a house, I don't have kids. If district beta goes under, I go move back with my mom.
Well, we don't want that.
Yeah,
Mom probably doesn't want that either.
I'm not putting myself at risk by pursuing this. So I would rather take this shot, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I would rather that than be 10 years from now looking back saying that I wish I did.
Yeah. That's great hearing. I like hearing that from young folks like yourself, because that type of philosophy isn't always taught. You know, it's go to school, get good grades, get a good job, live happily ever after. Probably not.
Yeah.
Does this come from Mom? Is this did she teach you these kind of things, or was this a combination of Mom and school and other family? Like, where do you get all this from?
I'm not really sure. I think my mom and my family, they've always pushed me just to do what makes me happy. Right. Especially as I mentioned earlier, I did have a lot of dark days when I was dealing with my own health problems. So then from then on, it was just what makes me happy and what is going to keep me here and where I'm gonna want to go. And as I mentioned before we started recording, like I'm on my third midlife crisis and I'm only 27.
Yeah, right.
So like I'm back and forth on that all the time. But I think it's I've surrounded myself by a very unique group of people that have always kind of pushed to do what makes you happy. I do follow a lot of influencers online and business people online, I guess business people, not influencers, online that always push to do what is you. And I could go work, and my employees stop listening right now. But like I could go work for someone else and build their dream, or I could work on building my own dream. Yeah. And that's where I saw it, and where I want to push towards.
Yeah, yeah. But you would encourage that in others too, even the ones that work for you now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. I've had a handful of my employees that they'll come work for me, and then they'll be like, I'm gonna start doing something of my own. And it's like a bittersweet moment of like when they first started, it's like, wow, I don't know how you do this. And then there's like, oh, I need to go do it on my own. Like one of my former employees, he's far more successful than I am. And it's funny that when he first started, he was like asking me some like minor questions about the industry that he's now dominating. That's awesome. It's funny seeing how that turns, and it's gratifying being able to like instill that in people and like give them confidence. And I had that a lot when I first started this business, because I was 21. No one thought that I knew what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing, but I had people doubting me all the time. But then I also had a lot of people,
because you're young and what do you know?
Yeah,
right?
And then I had a lot of people my age coming to me, just like, well, how'd you start it? It's like, I just started it. I just did it, and it's worked out so far.
Well, it's always interesting, you know, in life, business, you know, you can say, well, how are you going to do that? Well, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I just am. Now you can look back and say, well, this is how I did it. Yeah. But you had to just start.
Yeah.
And I always wonder how many people are out there in the world that have an idea or a plan of some sort, that's something they want to, even if it's climbing a mountain, whatever that is, that don't do it because of the fear of failure.
Yeah.
Right? You know, have you ever hit a moment where you were like, screw this, I'm done, I quit, it's not, have you ever had those moments where you just felt like you were ready to stop?
Yeah, the first announcement of lockdowns.
Right.
That was a rough one. That was basically they said those brief words in an interview, and my last 3 years of work flashed before my eyes. Yeah. And it's like, okay, did I do all of this for nothing? Mm-hmm. Is this the end of my business? Did I do this all for nothing, and now I have nothing to show for it?
Right.
And so, but then we ended up surviving, and I honestly think that kind of lost my like sense of like the fear for failure, because in my mind I already went through all the grief of it. Right. So if we fail now, I've already emotionally processed it. I can just move on. Yeah. So that was the big one for me, of like, just now I know how to just push through it.
Right.
Because I've already been there.
Good for you. we don't know each other super well, but we've gotten to know each other over time, and I don't mind saying I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have watched. I've always watched from afar, and I've talked about you behind your back to some other people.
Hopefully
that we
good
mutually
things.
know. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was a positive conversation, and congratulations.
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to see what more you do.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And just thank you so much for giving me
you.
the time here today. And I'm going to take advantage of them and see if I can play some video games here now.
I know a guy.
Right, I know a guy, right? Check them out online, of course, everywhere, District Beta, and on Twitch as well. I see you go live on there.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of live streams with me and my employees just hanging out.
Yeah,
and
cool.
just playing games after hours. So yeah, follow us on
I
there.
get the notification pops up.
You get the raw. See what myself and my staff are really like behind the scenes.
That's right. Come out and have some fun here, right? District Beta, and if you're lucky, Travis will be here, and you'll get a chance to talk to him. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And I'll say what I always say. You can click the like and the love button, but please click the share button. It's probably the most important button you can click to share the stories of people like Travis Kelly in our community. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend. We'll see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now. Great job.